If it was easy, it wouldn't be called Rivalry Week. Hello and welcome to Coyote Corner. I'm Alex Heinert, filling in this week for Jay Elson. With a 5-game losing streak halted a week ago against Oral Roberts, Craig Smith and the Yotes were looking to build on that momentum with only a handful of games remaining in the regular season. Standing in their way, however, were a pair of Coyote rivals that have won the last 4 Summit League Tournament championships. First on the docket, a home date against North Dakota State, and the Coyotes would be ready from the start. Trey Burnett would not be in the starting lineup for this one, but he'd get it going early. How about 3 of those for the senior? Then it's fellow reserve Austin Sparks. Nice bounce pass from Casey Kasperbauer, and Sparks puts it down over Dexter Werner. Big night for Tyler Flack. He misses the jumper here, but gets his own putback and the foul. Coyotes would lead 29-21 at the half. More of the same from Flack in the second. He powers by Dylan Miller for the lay-in. And then on the defensive end, my goodness, that kind of night for Bison leading scorer A.J. Jacobson, who was held to 9 points on just 3 of 15 shooting. USD led by as many as 20 in the second half, but NDSU would rally. Prodigal son Carlin Dupree gets the bucket here and the harm to help pull the Bison within 9 at this point, but they would get no closer than that. South Dakota would navigate through the NDSU pressure and hit their free throws down the stretch to earn their 2nd consecutive home win over the Bison and collect their 1st Summit League winning streak this season. The Yotes never trailed in the 72-58 win, in large part to the play inside of Tyler Flack. He notches his 2nd career double-double with 18 points and 10 boards. Trey Burnett would go for 11 and 10, while DJ Davis and Casey Kasperbauer would join them in double figures.
I feel like we played very good defense first and second half, and we never let up. I mean, we let up a little bit in the second half, but we were able to get back, back on track and not letting them get offensive rebounds and feel comfortable on offense. We kind of were getting into them, and I feel like that kind of kept them off balance, and it was harder for them to make shots.
The Coyotes looking for a 3rd straight win Saturday in a place they'd not tasted victory at in 16 years. All signs, though, promising in the early going for USD. Trey Norris here with the penetration to the lane and finds Eric Robertson, who knocks down the baseline jumper. Next time down the floor, it's Norris showing off the range from distance. Not to be outdone, Casey Kasperbauer in transition fires in 3 of his own and then goes for 3 more a couple times down later on the quickest of releases. USC would lead 22-14 with 12 minutes left in the first half, but things would trend downhill for the Yotes from there on out. The shots would stop falling for the visitors, and George Marshall and Mike Dahm would simply take over on the other end. They'd score 31 of State's 44 first-half points on 11 of 16 shooting. The two would key a 30-2 run over a 10-minute stretch in the first to help put the Jacks up 44-28 at the break. Trey Norris would do his best to keep South Dakota in striking distance in the second half, but nothing was slowing down the Jacks on this afternoon. Dahm would finish with 24, Marshall with 22, as State completes the South Dakota sweep 85-68. SDSU would get 23 points off 16 Coyote turnovers and limit the Yotes to a 6 for 20 shooting line from behind the arc. Norris was one of 4 Coyotes in double figures, along with Kasperbauer, Robertson, and Dan Jeck, who had 10 off the bench, but not nearly enough to pick up the W at Frost Arena. To the standings, where it's easy to see how important winning one of the 2 this past week could be in the fight for a spot in the Summit League tournament, especially with Oral Roberts earning a pair of victories last week to move past the Yotes and into a tie with Denver for the number 6 spot. Well, 1 big win, 1 tough loss. We'll see what assistant men's coach Austin Hansen thinks of it all when Coyote Corner returns.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Well, the USD men earned the splits during Rivalry Week, and back here to talk to us about it now, USD assistant men's coach Austin Hansen. Austin, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Pinch hitting a little bit today in place of Craig Smith, who's out recruiting this morning. Austin, not a tough start to the week. You get North Dakota State at home, defending Summit League champs. It's a team, though, that played to a 1-point defeat up in Fargo earlier this season. You beat this team last year in the Dakota Dome. Some of that confidence had to help early on, at least for the guys going into this matchup.
Yeah, both games, fun games to have. North Dakota State, South Dakota State, 2 rival games. Our guys played exceptionally well on Thursday. A good win at home. And then, they're fun games, but the way they're set up, having a home game, then going on the road to the other rival, just emotionally it can be a tough game. But our guys, they enjoy those games, and they're fun to play.
Yeah, in that Bison game, you take momentum early, and you build a 9-point lead right off the bat. You really did a great job of just, again, building on the past results that you had against this team. The offense maybe wasn't clicking there in that first half, but defensively, though, a great job all the way around, holding them to 21 points.
Yeah, I thought we did a good job just establishing the post early. Tyler Flack gave us some good scoring there in the post early, and then defensively we were really good. We were just solid guarding the ball. I thought our guys did a good job of executing the game plan. We were good with personnel, we were good with tendencies, good with their actions. Probably one of our best games defensively up to this point.
You led by as many as 20 in the second half. They go on a bit of a run, cut it to 9 with about 4 minutes to go. This has been a USD team that has struggled at times with pressure, both on court and just maybe a little mental pressure when things get close. What was the message when the Bison were making that run?
Well, they're a good team, and we knew that they were going to have a run in them. And we just talked about during the timeout just poise and composure. And I think Trey Norris did a good job of leading us from the point guard position, just managing the game. Casey did a good job making sure the guys were in good spirits and taking care of the basketball. So, those last 10 minutes, I think we just kind of got things back together and finished it out.
Yeah, did a nice job breaking some of the press late. You get some easy buckets to take care of the 72-58 win, your second straight. That leads us to Saturday. You get to go on the road to a South Dakota State team coming off a big loss for them on the road at Omaha. This is a game you start off well. You're up early, up by as many as 10 in the first 8 minutes or so. The wheels kind of came off, though, a little bit there. They go on a big 19-0 run. What was really the change from that strong start to how the things finished up in that first half?
Well, we did. We got a good start again. I think offensively we looked to attack the rim. We got some nice things there. And then, they countered with a punch. And we kind of settled for some jump shots, took some quick shots, allowed them to get out in transition. And then on the defensive end, we just didn't execute like we needed to in a game like that and against a team like that. The point guard Marshall and the Dom kid kind of got going there in the middle of the half, and we just struggled with those two for the rest of the half.
They go on to complete a 85-68 victory. Now looking ahead, you got to put that one behind you. A couple of games this week, a Wednesday match against York College of the NAIA, and then you get Denver on Sunday. Always interesting. This has been the last couple seasons, an NAIA opponent kind of in the middle of this conference schedule. Just talk about quickly the reasoning for that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of games we got to get in November and December. And with our league schedule having the Saturday to Sunday off, we just didn't feel like we want to take a whole week off there. So we put it in there to try to break up the week, and just so we didn't bunch up games in November and December too. So I think it's a good game for us. Obviously, a chance to get a bad taste out of our mouth on Wednesday, and then we get back to league on Sunday.
And a big one on Sunday against the Denver team that you lost to at Magnus Arena earlier this season. Only 3 conference games left now. Things are really getting tight, certainly at both ends of the standings. How big is that game against the Pioneers? Yeah,
there's 3 league games left, 2 weeks left in the season, in the regular season, and they're all big. So we're not going to put Denver on a pedestal at all and look at them any differently. When we get done with York on Wednesday, then we'll start talking about Denver. But another chance to play a home game in front of our fans and a chance for us to get better.
Couple big games this week, Austin. Best of luck in those. Thanks again for filling in this week.
Thanks, Alex.
Well, coming up next, there was only one game on this week's schedule for Amy Williams and company, but it was a big one. Highlight some reaction from the women's game against Oral Roberts when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Well, heading into this past weekend, South Dakota had more or less cruised through their Summit League schedule this year, winning 10 of 11 games and defeating opponents by an average of 17 points. The only blemish, though, on an otherwise spotless campaign came January 6th in Tulsa, a 60-56 loss to their lone opponent last week, the Golden Eagles of Oral Roberts. Kelly Stewart and company looking to avenge that defeat on Saturday, and they set about it by going inside. Nicole Seecamp with the dish to Margaret McLeod off the pick and roll for 2, and then it's Seecamp to McLeod again for 2 more of USD's 26 points in the paint on the night. Yotes shooting it well from the outside also. Taya Heemiller with the triple from the corner, and then it's Seecamp with the shake and the swish from the elbow. USD up 9 after 1. Watch this pick here from Abigail Fogg, laying the boom and then getting the reward at the basket. Nice dish there from Jasmine Trimboli. Oral Roberts, though, would not fold easily. Maria Martinez with the strong take to the rim here. She'd tie a career high with 14 to help pull ORU within 10 at the half. South Dakota, though, would not be denied in this one. Seacamp comes out firing after the break, scoring 13 of her game-high 17 points in the second half. The Summit assists leader would notch 5 dimes as well, including this beauty to Fogg for the basket and the foul. Abigail would put up 11 points in this one for her second straight game in double figures. He Miller would pour in 12, and USD would take the win going away 71-48 over the Golden Eagles. After shooting just 28% from the field and committing 18 turnovers in their first meeting against ORU, South Dakota would turn it around at home, shooting 45% and surrendering just 8 giveaways while turning over Oral Roberts 17 times. The Oats would also get 27 points off their bench. The win allows USD to keep pace with South Dakota State atop the Summit League standings with only 4 games remaining in the regular season. The Coyotes and Jacks set to face off with the top seed on the line this coming Saturday at 2 p.m. in Vermillion. You can watch that game here on Midco SN. Well, another week, another win for Amy Williams. Hear what the Coyote coach had to say about her team's performance after the break.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to Coyote Corner and welcome back to South Dakota women's basketball coach Amy Williams joining us this morning. Just one game on the schedule this past week, Amy, and normally you'd assume an open date would be a welcome sight, but your team had so much momentum. Any concern about a couple extra days between games this last week?
Really, we weren't too concerned about it. We just felt really good about the timing of this kind of, I don't know if you'd call it bye week, but one game week because we were just coming off a really tough road trip, and to be able to come back and have a couple days to get back into the school thing and recover and rest our bodies, it was pretty good timing.
You hosted Oral Roberts on Saturday. That was, again, the only team to beat you in conference this season. Any extra juice for the players going into this one, knowing that was the team that had knocked them off earlier this year?
Well, I'm sure that there was probably a little extra motivation there, but the biggest thing was I think it just really focused us, knowing that this is a team that can really turn up the heat defensively and force you to take shots that are out of character for you, and because of that we shot 28% in Tulsa, and we wanted to make sure that we were controlling the game and being able to take the shots we wanted to take.
Yeah, a sluggish offensive start in the Maybe Center a couple of weeks ago. Different story though in the Dakota Dome. You jump off to a great 20-point first quarter, you build up a 9-point lead, and that never really shrunk as the game went on. Biggest reason for that good early start?
Well, I think we were locked in on how we wanted to attack them. I thought we did a great job in the first quarter of really getting out and kind of pushing and attacking in transition and finding ways to get the ball in the paint early, and that was key for us. We went away from that maybe a little in the second quarter, and that's something that we discussed at halftime.
You came out in that third quarter, and again, 23 points in that frame to really pull away. You end up getting the 71-48 victory. Again, good offensive performance, but like it's been the last couple of weeks, it felt like defensively, that was really what won you the contest. You forced 17 turnovers, you hold them to 35% shooting. Just another great defensive effort by the girls.
Yeah, I thought that we continue to make strides on the defensive end of the floor, and that's what we really need to see right now this time of year. And I think we talked very heavily about in Tulsa, we got beat primarily because we got outscored in the paint 36-10. And that was a huge key for us offensively to try to take advantage of that, but to try to find a way to keep them out of the paint. And that's a very difficult task to do, and I thought we did a much better job of that. We didn't necessarily flip that statistic around, but we evened that up, which made a big difference in the game.
26-26 instead of that disadvantage like you had the first time around. That win, by the way, over Oral Roberts, your 10th in a row now. Locks up your second straight 20-win season. Congratulations, again, a couple of great accomplishments there. This, again, we were just talking before we started this interview. There's only 4 games left now in this season. It just feels like this is blown by. Is that the case for you as well?
Absolutely. We feel like this season's just whizzing by. When they started talking to me about prepping for senior night activities, I thought it can't be time for senior night already, but here we are, and 4 games left, and we're going to continue to try to build on the momentum and be playing our best basketball here down the stretch.
2 home games left in the Dome coming up. Western Illinois on Thursday, a team that you beat pretty handily a couple of weeks ago at the end of January. Talk about what you need to do to get a victory there against the Leathernecks.
Well, certainly Western Illinois in the last 4 years has played us tight almost every game. And if they get hot, they're capable. Twice this year have hit 17 threes in a ball game. They've got multiple players. Well, pretty much everyone on their roster is capable of knocking down a 3-point shot. So it's going to take a great effort for us defensively here to knock them off.
Yeah, big one against Western on Thursday, and then South Dakota State on Saturday. A lot going into this with a final home Dome game in women's basketball history there in that place. A lot of people coming back for that one. Obviously a huge game against the team you just beat by 5 in Frost earlier this season. What a way to finish up at the Dome this year.
Right, just our last couple ball games in the Dome, and the Dome's been very, very good to us, so it'll be a little bittersweet, but certainly a big week for us, and just hoping we can continue to keep getting better each time out.
Well, best of luck this week. Thanks again for the time. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Alex.
After the break, we're going to shift from the courts to the pool, bringing the story of all-conference USD diver Greysen Hertting, the girl who cannot stop winning. That's next on Coyote Corner.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Well, we don't always get to focus on USD's swimming and diving team here on Coyote Corner, but when we do, junior Greysen Hertting is usually front and center. With the conference meet set to begin on Wednesday, here's a look at what makes the 25-time Summit League Diver of the Week so special.
It's a Thursday afternoon, and South Dakota junior Greysen Hertting is at diving practice. It's a sight seen nearly every day during the season, but with the USD pool located in relative isolation inside the Dakota Dome, the work Hertting and her teammates do here often goes unnoticed by those outside the program.
I don't think a lot of people know that we have a pool here, but I feel like recognition has helped. People are realizing that there's a swim team here and that we do fairly well.
Even though USD's swimming and diving teams aren't often in the spotlight, it's not for lack of accomplishments. Both teams have produced quality results in the Summit League in recent years, but it's Hertting, a junior from Appleton, Wisconsin, who stands out. After winning a Wisconsin State Diving Championship in high school, Hertting had no shortage of college offers, but a hometown connection with then USD diving coach Chris Huntsman put Vermillion on Greysen's radar.
Took a lot of pride in and poking to get her to finally commit. She was one of those late signees for us, but she's blossomed ever since we had her show up.
I definitely chose the right choice. Definitely the right school. Knew that, I think, the first week.
Choosing a college was stressful for Hertting, but it's a feeling she's accustomed to, especially when she's on the diving board.
A lot of pressure, guys.
Diving is a stressful sport. I put a lot of stress on myself, and sometimes it overcomes my want to do well, if that makes sense. It's gonna sound dumb, but I just try to calm down. I put on music, I talk with my friends, and try to come down a little bit from that anxiety and just even myself out and do what I know how to do.
What she knows how to do is win. Since arriving at USD, Hertting has won almost everything a Summit League diver can, including back-to-back conference titles in both the 1 and 3 meters, 2 Diver of the Year honors, and a ridiculous 25 Summit League Diver of the Week awards. It's safe to say her amount of success and how quickly it's come has surpassed expectations.
We thought her ability to come in and do well for us was high. We didn't quite know that she was going to be this dominating this early.
I think it was that conference when I did end up winning. It kind of told me that I can do it, and I'm able to do well at something that I love.
Success hasn't come without sacrifice.
You practice every day for about 2 hours, some conditioning in between. A lot of time.
Greysen's hitting 20 hours a week, the max the NCAA allows us. I mean, she's in here 20 hours a week.
But Hertting has been able to thrive despite the full-time commitment of being both a D1 athlete and a nursing major.
You know, one thing Greysen probably wouldn't tell you is she's also a 4.0 student. She does a job in the classroom. You know, she's a coach's dream come true.
Looking ahead, Hertting has her sights set on another sweep at the conference championships in Indianapolis this February. Beyond that, it's the NCAA Zone Championships in Texas, a meet Hertting's earned an invite to for the 3rd straight year against some of the best divers in the nation.
Our zone is a pretty tough zone. It includes Texas, Texas A&M, Minnesota.
It's a little bit of an adjustment to see crazy divers and crazy dives, but it's adjustment, but you figure it out.
And this is a year where she wants to go and not just make it, but she wants to go and do something when they make it back to finals, make that next step to making the NCAA championships.
It's that drive to not be fully satisfied, even with greatness, that has Hertting in position to continue to make a splash in the Summit League and beyond.
She's the one athlete I would say every year at the end of the year isn't satisfied with where the season ended, and she goes farther than the other athletes. So I think that says a lot about her. She wants to continue to get better.
I think the past success pushes me the most. I know that I can do it, and so now I want to continue doing it.
Well, best of luck to Greysen and the rest of the Coyote swimming and diving team as they compete in Indianapolis this Wednesday through Saturday in the Summit League Conference Championships. For USD basketball fans, your week looks like this. 4 home games on 4 different days are on the docket, starting on Wednesday with the USD men taking on York College of Nebraska. The following night brings 7-5 Western Illinois to the Dakota Dome. They take on the Coyote women in a big one in the Summit League there. Then on Saturday, the South Dakota Showdown Series continues with arguably the biggest game of the Summit League season. USD and SDSU will tip off at 2 p.m. A win would give the Yotes the season sweep and the all-important tiebreaker over the Jacks. Finally, then on Sunday, the Yote men return to conference play with a battle against Denver, also at 2 p.m. You can catch both weekend games live here on Midco SN with Jay Elson and Greg Steeman on the call. Well, that's our show for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you this weekend for live coverage of Coyote basketball.